area, and it is also where 60% of Peru's petroleum is produced. With funding from MacArthur Foundation, Hewlett-Packard Peru, WWF Switzerland, Netherlands Cooperation, and US Aid, WWF Peru is working in Pastaza to strengthen capacities of indigenous organizations to negotiate with government and the private sector, ensuring their collective land rights, monitoring the quality of river waters, and improving the use of natural resources in order to contribute to improve the livelihoods for local indigenous communities. Lake Rimachi, the largest lake in the Peruvian Amazon, is also found in this area. The Kandoshi people, with assistance from WWF, are implementing an integrated fish management plan, ensuring sustainable harvest of fish stocks, as well as directly marketing their catch in important markets such as Yurimaguas, Cenepa, and Santiago. WWF Peru, with funding from the Italian-Peruvian Fund, is working with the Ahun and Wampis populations on fish farms, cacao plantations, enrichment of forests with valuable species, and harvest of non-timber forest products. Manseriche. In Manseriche, the Indigenous Forest Project, FORIN, with funding from the European Union, contributes to strengthening capacities of local indigenous communities for sustainable forest management and just and responsible forest trade. Tabaconas. The northern Andes ecoregion, in the upper watershed of the Amazon basin, WWF supports the management of the Tabaconas Nambaye National Sanctuary. With funding from the European Union and the Flemish community, WWF focuses its efforts on forest restoration, environmental education, strengthening of local capacities for land use planning and nature conservation. These activities are part of a tri-national project executed by Fundación Natura in Ecuador, WWF Colombia, and WWF Peru to mitigate the vulnerability of these Andean ecosystems to climate change and development processes. Southwest Amazon. This is a complex landscape which includes the Vilcabamba mountain range, the moist forests of Ucayali, and the relatively drier forests of the Madre de Dios basin. Most of the area has some kind of official land use, including protected areas. WWF has worked in Southwest Amazon since 1967, principally in the establishment of some of its most important national parks, such as Manu, Bahuaje Sonene, and Alto Purús. Alto Purús. Today, WWF concentrates its efforts within the Alto Purús complex, made up of the Alto Purús National Park, the Mashku Piro Territorial Reserve, and the Purús Communal Reserve. With funds from the Betty and Gordon Moore Foundation, WWF Peru is supporting both the management of the Alto Purús National Park and the Purús Communal Reserve. In particular, WWF has worked closely with the local indigenous federation, FECUNAPU, and thus contributing to the sustainable use of natural resources within these communities, especially of fish and wildlife. Atalaya. In Atalaya, one of our 7 field offices in the Peruvian Amazon, 2 large projects reflect the strong role of WWF in the Peruvian forest sector. The Indigenous Forest Project, FORIN, funded by the European Union, aims for 30 indigenous communities to adopt sustainable forest management in their forests. The Forest Certification Project SURF, with funding from WWF Netherlands, aims to secure the certification of 785,000 hectares managed by 1 large private forest concession and 19 local indigenous communities. Interoceanic Highway. Southwest Amazon contains one of the hotspots for deforestation in the country, the lands along the South Interoceanic Highway. It is expected that after the current paving process is finished, hundreds and thousands of hectares will be deforested and millions of tons of